Alright, welcome back to another vid. My first one for ages. Been a little bit lazy, busy. It's boiling outside. I know you can't see it, but trust me, it's bloody hot. And the last thing you want to be doing is doing what I'm doing now and sitting in front of a camera, in front of the computer, making a vid. But the things I do for you, bloody hell. Unbelievable. So, but there's, a number of reasons I wanted to make this vid. One, because it's been a while since I made one, so I want to get back into the swing of things. But also, two, I'm not going to show too much. I've got a package here which arrived in the mail about a month ago, but because I've been busy and a bit lazy and all the rest of it, I haven't had an opportunity to open it. Now, this is from Pete, SNES-tastic, good mate of mine. You'll all know Pete, he's a really top guy, and if you don't, by some weird reason, know his channel, then I'll put a link below, but you will know who he is. But anyway, Pete sent me a message 2 months ago, a month ago, whenever it was, on Twitter. I mean, we regularly talk anyway. And he just said, Alex, I've got something, I found it, I think you'll like it, I'm going to send it to you. And he's got my address already, I think, from, in the past when we've sent things. So he sent it now. I didn't ask what it was, because he wouldn't tell me. He made that very clear straight from the start. He said, I'm not going to tell you what it is, I want you to open it on camera, and on the front, I won't show you because my address is on there and all that kind of stuff, but it actually says, open on camera, little smiley face on there. So I've no idea what this is. I mean, I can speculate. It's very thin, as you can see there. Bloody hell, I nearly gave someone's address away. And that made me laugh. Let me just go on a bit of a tangent here. I saw something quite recently on Twitter. This person, now I don't follow them. I don't even know that they've got a YouTube channel, so don't be paranoid. It's not you I'm talking about. But this one individual constantly puts like pictures of stuff that has arrived in the mail, right? It's like little packages that he's going to open and then show the contents like on Twitter. But he always puts them address showing, to get more packages from people. It's so sneaky. I'm only jealous, but still. But anyway, so I just thought it was a little bit cheap to do that, If I was to show you my address now, 90% of you would be like, well, I'm not going to send anything, obviously, and why should you? And I wouldn't accept it, because I'm not that way inclined. But 10% of people out there would, because they're so kind-hearted, would probably send things to my address, or to your address, or to someone else's. And so I just think by doing that, unless you do it by accident, if you do it deliberately, I just think that's a little bit sneaky. I do. I've got to be honest. But you may disagree. And who cares? I'm ranting. So, anyway, let's open this packet. So, I don't know what it is. I think it's going to be a vinyl record. I say that just simply because of the size of it. I don't want to bend it just in case it is, but I've no idea. It could be some loose CDs or some discs. I've no idea what it is. It could be a copy of Razzle. It could be. Or Club International. Asian Babes, 40 plus. Is it just me used to steal them? So anyway, we're going to open this now. I should have brought some scissors. Oh, don't want to give anyone's address away seconds after saying that. Let's use some keys, the old-fashioned way. So like I say, no idea what it is. I'm going to hazard a guess. Oh, it comes with a little letter. Should I read it? Should I read it out loud? Right, I will read it out loud because it doesn't reveal what it is. We can all share this surprise in a second. Alex, hope all is well. Of course it is, mate. Always is. I came across this recently and thought of you. Just a small thank you for being a friend. Oh, good lad, isn't he, Pete? Hope you enjoy it, mate. It's a great album. All the best, Pete. And then he's put SNES-tastic like I wouldn't know. Brilliant. So, that's really nice, Pete. Thanks for that, mate. I say thanks for it. I've not seen it yet. Could be anything. It could be the best of Barry Manilow or something. So anyway, we're going to open it up. And you can see it before I do. I don't know if you can even work it out. Oh, wow, mate, that's amazing. Right, well, you're not going to know what this is. I know straight away. It's by a band called Kingmaker. And this album is called Eat Yourself Whole. Oh, wow, this is amazing. Mate, seriously, you took me by surprise. Oh, God, now I've got to get the scissors. Or can I somehow sneak through? Oh, wow. Oh, man, this is in good condition as well. Nice, yeah. Now, Kingmaker. I've mentioned Kingmaker before. Yeah, this album is amazing. It came out in 1991, does it say on the back? Yeah, 1991. Ask me a question on Kingmaker, I'll probably get it right. So, not many people have heard of them, but they were like a really kind of, they were like an indie rock band. I'll put a link below. Check out a couple of Kingmaker tracks. And make sure you do, because I think you'll probably like them if you like that sort of indie, pre-Britpop kind of vibe. But they had so much more as well. They weren't around for too long. There's the record as well. They weren't around for too long in the scheme of things. I think they had like, oh God, a minute ago I said, ask me a question, I'd get it right. Now I'm going to get it wrong. I think they had like 3 full albums and like an EP as well, and a best of, which came out, you know, like the late 90s, a couple of years after they'd split up. But yeah, I touched upon Kingmaker. If you ever watch my diary vids, I told the story back, I think it would have been in May of 95, so check that video out if you want to hear it, of how we went to see this band live at Southampton University, and they were brilliant, they really were. The support band were awful, but these guys were fantastic. And yeah, this is a really good album, and Pete, mate, I'm just surprised that you even remembered or knew. I mean, because I don't think we've ever really talked about it privately, at Kingmaker, so obviously you've picked up on that. That's amazing. Honestly, I didn't know what it was going to be. I thought it could be a vinyl because of the shape, but I had no idea. But I would never have guessed in a million years you'd have picked up a Kingmaker record for me. Mate, that's amazing. Thank you very much. This is really good. And do you know what? I'm going to show this on my next vinyl pickup vid. It could be sometime this week, maybe next week, but it's long overdue, so I'll do one of those soon. But yeah, that's amazing. I love the front cover as well, even though technically it's a sperm. So make of that what you will. Maybe I shouldn't have said that. But we'll move on rapidly. But Pete, amazing. Thank you so much, mate. Such a top guy. It's unbelievable. I owe you one. That's brilliant. I can't believe it. So I tell you what, let's move straight on to the games. I feel guilty moving on now because that was such a nice thing to do. But speaking of Pete, this was, I think, maybe a week or two before. So I've had these a little bit longer. But again, I've not made a video for ages. So it was a situation where I wanted a couple of games, right? I wanted a couple of games. I went on to ebayuk.co.uk. And the seller wouldn't send to America. So I never understand why. I had that again this morning where it still is actually an item for 99 pence. It's a PS1 game. It's probably going to go for more than 99 pence, but not much more. I wouldn't have thought so. It might go for like a £5 or maybe a tenner on an amazing day. When it goes in a buy it now, it's usually a tenner, but that's a buy it now, a standard auction. I think I could probably get this for a couple of quid. But anyway, so I sent the seller for this PS1 game today. I sent him a question on eBay. And I just said, look, you know, will you send to America? Look at my feedback. I don't mind waiting until you've received the funds. You know, don't send it straight away. I'm happy to wait. And he wouldn't. He wasn't rude, but he just said, oh, no, I don't send overseas. And I sent a message back because I was a little bit irked by it. Again, I wasn't rude, but I went, well, you may think it's rude. I certainly didn't intend it to be that way. And I just said, you know, why, out of interest, why won't you send it to America? All you've got to do is add USA on the address label. It's not like you've got to deliver it personally. You just take it to the bloody post office, and all you've got to do is say it's going to America. Simple. How hard is that? But apparently he said something about he doesn't go to the post office, and he's got some kind of program set up where his work collects it or something. I don't know. Some bollocks. Anyway, so what I may do if I want it, I think I'll just buy it and get it sent to my parents' house. But what a hassle for a 99 pence game. So it was a similar kind of situation with this, but again, the guy was really friendly, to be fair. And I think maybe had his fingers burnt once or twice in the past, sending things overseas. So I was talking to Pete at the time, and I said, Pete, it's a bit cheeky. I mean, we've kind of done this back and forth before, where I've had things sent to Pete, which he wants, that I bought for him, and vice versa. Excuse me. I've got a drink over here, actually. Now, I should say, as I go off on a tangent, it's the 1st of June tomorrow. It's you'll be watching this on the 1st of June or after. And I'm going on a diet. Healthy eating. Now, I'm not obese. I wouldn't walk in the room and you'd be like, bloody hell, I had no idea. I'm not obese, but I'm definitely overweight by a good couple of stone. I reckon. Seriously. 1st of June tomorrow. And maybe as the month goes on, I'll keep you in the loop as to how well it's going or not. We'll see. So anyway, these two Super Nintendo games, I really wanted them. They're PAL, obviously because of nostalgia with me. I can't do American games. I know they've got the faster speed and all that kind of stuff and no borders, but it's all about the artwork and the multicoloured boxes. That's what it's about for me, nostalgia. You know, I like retro gaming occasionally, maybe not as much as yourself, but I do like it. But I'm more in it for the nostalgia than the actual games, personally. That's just me. So anyway, the first game up is one called Smash Tennis. I'll show you the sides if you can even, and the front cover and all that kind of stuff. Ignore the reflective light. They're in these Sentinel cases, which are really good, and they really house the games well. They're in fantastic condition. They're pretty much mint, and were advertised as such. The seller claimed to be, like I'm saying, suggesting he was lying. But he said he's a collector. So, you know, he kept them all in fantastic condition. And to be fair, they are. And the next one is International Superstar Soccer Deluxe. And yeah, it's pretty good. I tell you what, I really like not Super Smash Tennis, just Smash Tennis. It's a really good tennis game. It took me by surprise. I'd seen it years ago, but I'd never played it. But it was a good price, and I thought, let's just buy it. And this is a bit of a classic. Now, I don't think it's aged amazingly well. It's not bad. It's good, but yeah, it's not aged fantastically well. I've got to be honest. But either way, really pleased to have them, and I think this takes my PAL Super Nintendo collection to a rather pathetic and paltry 6, maybe 7. It's pretty bad. But you've got to start from somewhere, so I'm just looking around. What should I show next? Yes, that's all the Pete stuff done. Pete's special there at the beginning. So thanks for the games, Pete, and very much thanks as well for the record. It's absolutely brilliant. I'll be sticking that on later, and it will appear on my next vinyl vid. So, yeah, I tell you what, let's show this. So I picked up, like most other people, with a PlayStation 4, as you can work out. No, where is it? There it is. Yeah, there it is. Uncharted 4. Now, this is the limited or special edition version. And, yeah, Uncharted 4 is a brilliant game. Now, I'm not going to talk in depth. I was originally planning on doing it, but I may touch upon it in a future vid where I talk about the Uncharted games. I might incorporate it into a vlog. I don't want to make it a separate vid because I'm not particularly knowledgeable at all on the games. So I think I'm just gonna... I thought someone came in there. Is it the cat? It's not the cat. Sorry. Yeah, I'm not particularly knowledgeable whatsoever on the Uncharted series, despite just recently finishing all of them. But I do like them, and obviously I like some more than others, so maybe I'll touch upon that in a future vlog. So that's that one. Now, I got that, but I've also got, not because I'm a lunatic, I've also got the standard edition, still sealed. It's still sealed because obviously I've played the standard version. The reason why I've got and you'll probably see it behind me, but I'll show you the box. The reason why I've got a sealed version is because I recently picked up the Uncharted for PlayStation 4 console, and you can see it down there. Is it going to be down there? Again, rubbish at pointing with these reflective kind of mirror things going on, screens, whatever. So yeah, I really liked the look of this when I first saw this a few months ago, and the charcoaly kind of blue-grey colour to it just, for me, looks absolutely fantastic, and I thought, I've got to buy it. It does mean right now that I've got 2 PlayStation 4s. I've got the standard black one, and of course now this. I don't intend to keep 2 PlayStation 4s, the other one will be sold, and I may even bundle it with this, because it's still sealed, and get a little bit more money for it, we'll see. But also what I got, for any of you guys out there who I sometimes game with on the PlayStation, or the Xbox for that matter, but particularly for the PS3, I've got the Uncharted headset. I was feeling a bit flush, you know, when I bought that, and plus it was at a slight discount as well. So, yeah, pick that up. Again, I really like the look to it. It's got the same kind of colour to it. And, yeah, looks great. And last but not least, it's still sealed, but I've got an extra controller. It already came with one anyway. So right now, I only really need one. I guess technically I could use 2. But really, for now, just one will do. So, really, really pleased with that. And the PlayStation 4, it's a lovely bit of kit. My voice is gone, I was going to have another drink. Yeah, lovely bit of kit, and really pleased to get it, but... Excuse me. But once again, you know, these days I'm kind of spending a lot of time with the Xbox One, and then just shifting along back to the PlayStation 4. And I've done that constantly, and I'm not sure why. The only thing I can put it down to is that for me, as much as I do enjoy current-gen gaming, I do like it, I think it's quite disposable to me. I don't think I'm going to be particularly nostalgic about it in the future, because it's come at a time in my late 30s. I'm not saying you can never be nostalgic about something in your late 30s or 40s or 50s or whatever, but I think your main core of nostalgia is pretty much, you know, when you're kind of, 8, 9, 10, up into maybe 17, 18, give or take. And I think that's your main nostalgia. And that's why I'll always love things like the Super Nintendo, the Atari ST, the Amiga, the PS1, all that kind of stuff, before anything else. So maybe that's why I keep going back and forth between the Xbox One and the PlayStation 4, because it is quite disposable and I'm not really that fussed about it. Maybe, we'll see. Now, speaking of PlayStation, and there's also another Xbox thing here as well. I've got 1 PS3 game and I've got 2 PS1 games. So I'm going to very quickly talk about this because it's not an amazing game, but it's Star Wars The Force Unleashed on the PlayStation 3. Yeah, my one gripe with this, when I first played it about 6, 7 years ago, or maybe longer actually, whenever it first came out, in fact, it would have been longer than that, maybe 8 years ago, give or take. The one thing which I didn't like, and it was immediately obvious at the time of originally playing it, was I just found that when you walk into a room, you can just use the force and everyone goes flying everywhere. It was just way too easy. And going back to it all these years later, I'm basically doing the same thing. I find it quite simple. And I'm only about 10-20% through the game, but it puts me off wanting to go further because it's so easy, so far anyway. Next up, 2 PlayStation 1 games. These are classics for me. And they were both bought in America as well, so I didn't have to import these. So, bonus. First one up is, they're both Black Label. Resident Evil, an amazing, amazing game. And Ridge Racer, an absolute classic. Now, I want to get Ridge Racer with the like a cardboard slipcover. I know it was released, despite everyone I ever mentioned it to not knowing it. I know it was released because I used to have it back in 1996, I guess it would have been. It's 96? Yeah, it probably would have been. I mean, it came out, I think, in 95, didn't it? In the UK, but I think the PlayStation 1 came out in 95, but was it a launch game? Maybe it was. 95 or 96, either way. I remember buying it, and it came in this kind of slip, kind of cardboard cover. There's a few other PS1 games that have that. Most notably, Mortal Kombat 3, I think. Or was it, yeah, Mortal Kombat 3? Total NBA 97 with like kind of the basketball rubbery feel on the front. I think Warhawk was another. There may have been 1 or 2, but Ridge Racer was definitely one of them. And I did see it on eBay about 5 or 6 years ago, just 1 copy, but it was in terrible condition, so I didn't buy it. I think Tekken's another one that came in that kind of cardboard thing. So I really want to get that one. And also, because I'm a little bit weird and a little bit OCD, I'd like to get the double dual case one as well, which will mean I'll have 3 copies of Ridge Racer. It's weird. So 3 games left. First one up is one for the Sega Saturn. Now, it's a cheap and cheerful one, so I'm not going to talk about it too long or dwell on it. But it's Sega Worldwide Soccer 1998, or just 98. Now, it's a bit of a rubbish game, in all honesty, I think it is. But again, it oozes that nostalgia. I remember at the time I was working in an electronics boutique, and a few people were coming in buying this. And it was one that I took home and I borrowed, because obviously one of the perks of working there, you could borrow games. So, yeah, I just kind of like it from a nostalgic perspective, but it's not a particularly great game, I've got to be honest. It is better than 97, as you can imagine. But it's not all that. But I love these hard Saturn cases as well. Nothing new, of course. I mean, I had a Saturn back not long after it came out. Always being a PS1 fan first, that'll never change. But I've always had a soft spot for the Sega Saturn, so really pleased to get that. Even though it was very cheap as well. Even though it's not very good, as I say. And then 2 games left, and they're both for the Atari ST. And the first one up is a shooter called Frenetic. Nice little box out there. Made by Core Design. Now, Core made another game called Warzone. I did a gameplay for that maybe a couple of years ago, and that's an amazing game. Another game that I used to have back in the day. And, yeah, absolutely fantastic. Now, this, I've got to be honest, as was usually the case, comes with, like, instructions and a poster and the disc, of course. As was usually the case, the Amiga version is better. It's not so much that it looks much better. It kind of looks the same, really, but it moves a bit faster. And the sound, the music is better, as it was for 90% of Amiga games, just because of the sound chip. But sometimes the ST could do amazing sound as well. It's just usually the programmers didn't take full advantage of it, or they didn't know what they were doing. So that's Frenetic, and it's quite good. I like it anyway. And last but not least is an absolute amazingly nostalgic game for me. It's a football game, so you may not like it. Another football game, I guess. But it's so good, and it still holds up. I've been playing it. It's absolutely brilliant. And it's Premier Manager. This also came out on the Mega Drive, and there was a sequel on the ST and the Amiga and the PC as well. So Premier Manager 2, and 3. And I think 3 came with like an extra box, a big separate box with it, which had loads of like data stuff where you could basically change the game, the data in the game, so you could invent leagues and change cup competitions and players and all that kind of stuff. So it's an amazing game. It holds up really well. Have I showed you this already? I don't think you really care. And one of the kind of novel things about this game is you can manage in the top 5 divisions of English football. And this is the first season of the Premier League, so it's season 92-93. So you've got you've got the Premier League, you've got what would have been, I guess, what did they call it back then? Division 1, 2 and 3. And then you have the conference. I think it's still, in this game, the GM Vauxhall Conference. So it's kind of great, with all the players from back in the day. And it holds up well. You can do the sponsorship on there. You can hire physiotherapists. You can call up clubs to buy players, make inquiries, train players, hire scouts. It's pretty in-depth for a game that came out in 1992, and I can't remember the name, but there's one game that came out on the Amiga. I know Labosu77, Owen will know this. There's a football game on the Amiga, very kind of low budget, but was really popular. And that's the only other one I can think of off the top of my head that came close to matching this, but I probably think this maybe had the edge. Was it Football Masters? Is that what it's called? I may be wrong on that, I'm not sure. So anyway, that's that. Oh, actually, I've got one more. Sneaky little beast here. One more for the 360 sticking out the corner. It's Deus Ex Human Revolution. Yeah, I remember buying this not long after it came out, and I played it for about 10 minutes, but I had so many games back then, it was ridiculous. So I put it on for like 5 minutes, I couldn't get into it, and I don't think I ever went back to it, which is rather silly. So I've got it now, all these years later. I'm going to give it a try. It is actually backwards compatible, so I can play it on the Xbox One if I want. I'm not sure whether it beefs it up to some kind of HD thing or not, I have no idea. And it comes in this little slipcase as well, which is quite nice. So yeah, the 360 and the PS3, much like the Xbox One and the PS4, I constantly go back and forth, as I say, because I think they're kind of disposable for me. So as my voice is going, so I better go as well. So there we are. Yeah, loads of games there, some good ones. Pleased to get them all. Got a system and, of course, a record. So until my next vid, which will be sometime this week, maybe a Thursday drive. I know you're all going to watch it, obviously. Until then, or whenever, thanks for watching. See you later.